scores majestically.
Oh my word! Fabulous!
Oh, what a strike that is! Simply spectacular.
Oh, it's an absolute beauty, isn't it?
The best goal of the night.
It all starts here.
Hello and welcome to the new National League Vodcast. Now you can watch every game exclusively live here on DAZN.
Joining us for the first episode, we have one of Aaron's former teammates, Craig McAllister. Thanks for joining us, pal. 17 years of friendship, isn't it?
Yeah.
17 long years, hard years.
Yeah. No, it was wonderful. We say we met at a great time. We got to see each other flourish, and yeah, somehow we're still friends.
It actually might be longer than 17 years because we obviously played together for the England C, for the England C team. So before we was actually teammates, we actually played together and kind of knew each other anyway. So yeah, it might even be longer than that. And by the grade, you can tell it's swearing on me.
Obviously, there's loads of football over the festive period. As former players, what was it like for you?
I enjoyed it. The games come thick and fast, and as a player, you just want to play. And I always found kind of the atmospheres seemed a little bit more hyped. To say it become, I think it's a family tradition. You have Christmas, and lots of family I found go out on Boxing Day to watch their team. So it was always an enjoyable period.
And the gaffers always had you in on Christmas Day?
not at Peterborough, I don't think.
No, I think Peterborough was pretty good.
Yeah.
Peterborough, Darren Ferguson would always let us have that off. I must say, when I was at Hull, we were in. We'd be in later, but we'd go in and train on Christmas Day. But
I found that a couple of times at Brighton. It was Christmas, like early, have the morning to yourselves, and then in the afternoon come in Christmas Day. I think it's just a case of just making sure how much we ate.
I was going to say, what was the food intake like? Was it different when you were professionals to when you were playing in the lower leagues?
No, I think it's pretty similar. I think like you try and keep that professionalism, whether you're in non-league and whether you're in the pro level. So it was always the same. I'd always end up eating too much on Christmas.
I think though, as we went on, obviously the nutritional side, that wasn't really a thing.
No.
When we first started out in the National League. You know, the beginning of my career, I think when I was playing at Aldershot, I survived on pot noodles and tuna and sweet corn pasta. So it wasn't really until Darren Ferguson came in at Peterborough where things drastically changed, was it?
Yeah, no, I think you say that era when we were coming through non-league, it was like steak and chips, eggs, and then as you kind of got more professional and more teams started to do it, the nutrition became such a big thing, and I think then you started to kind of watch a bit more of what you ate. And say for me, Christmas Day was always probably the only day of the year where actually I'd go all out, and my dad would just make massive Christmas dinners, or Amber would, and I'd come in the next day, and I was like, oh, I'm going to have to do more of Aaron's running here.
Oh. I wish that was true. I wish.
17 years of friendship. We have got a little treat for you today. It's not a Christmas dinner, but we have got a quiz. Now, producer Josh put these together, and if you can get these correct, then fair play to you both. 6 questions, 3 questions each. If you get your question wrong, it can be passed on to the opposing player. Right, Aaron, you're first up. How many goals did Craig assist for you?
So many.
I could probably count on one hand.
That's a clue. That's not far off.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to say I've got 7 or 8 in my head.
Okay.
I'm going to go...
Oh, you're very warm. You're very, very warm.
Okay. I'll go 9.
What do you think, Craig? Do you think that's the right answer? 9.
I'm disappointed that you said you're telling me it's under 10. I'll go 8.
Well, it is 8. It is 8. You're on the right path, Aaron.
Warm.
Yeah.
Warm means you're not on the right answer, but you're close to it.
Okay.
Honestly, terrible.
Very close, very close. Okay, Craig, how many goals did Aaron assist for you?
Probably under 5, I reckon. I reckon... Oh. Depends if it was a...
No, just answer the question. Don't try breaking it down.
I'd say 9.
Would you reckon?
I'm gonna say more, so I'll go 10.
No, it's not. It was 6.
How? I can tell you 6 off the top of my head. That is incorrect.
Okay, this one, we'll do it together. How many games did you and Craig play together?
Wow.
We'll go nearest to the pin wins this one.
Probably about 180 odd, I reckon.
So, Craig, you looking in 180?
Yeah.
And you going higher or lower than 180?
I'm going to go less.
You got a number in mind?
I'm going to
go. In case you get it correct.
I'm going to go 166.
Okay. The answer is 147.
Wow.
You shared your time together across 8 seasons in different spells from 2007 to 2015. But who did you face in the first match you both played in? And we'll go a bonus point if you can guess the managers.
Both played.
The managers. One manager will be Darren Ferguson.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. You know who you were playing for?
First ever game. And he's a legend. Is he still managing now?
No.
First ever game.
Paul Ince.
Correct.
Macclesfield.
Macclesfield. There we go.
Wow!
I remember that game now.
What was that first experience like, playing together?
It was like, I think
it was actually quite easy, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think also like, there was a lot of kind of talk whether we could play together.
Yeah, and Darren Ferguson did. We still remind him about it to this day.
Yeah.
But because I'd obviously got injured, I'm sure it was in that game against Macclesfield. So then Craig then played the rest of the season. And in the summer, obviously the question was, well, who's going to play, either Craig or Aaron? And he said that he didn't think that we could play together. So it was almost like we had a point to prove because as much as in terms of the work rate and going and closing down and that side of it, we're very similar in that respect. But our games, we bring different things. Craig just runs around headless. And I'm the one with the guy.
You head it anyway.
I tidy everything up. So our games complemented each other. So yeah, it was nice to look back now and kind of be able to rub his nose in it.
Okay, well, do you remember the last game you played together? Who it was against?
When he just left. He had enough.
When we went back to Peterborough, I'm sure you only came in for like
3
games?
Yeah, 2 or 3 games.
So that would have been Bristol City, where we got absolutely popped.
Yeah. Leyton Orient. And Preston. So
can I tell you what? One of those teams is correct.
I'll say Preston.
Correct.
Is it Preston?
Yeah, it's Preston. Knowledge.
Oh, we lost that as well. I think we lost that.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah. Oh. We lost 2 out of 3. We beat all.
Yeah, we got Bristol City with flying season.
Well, the final question. Start with Craig. You both started your careers in the national leagues, both scoring a number of goals, but who scored more? There's 2 in it.
Is it
very close?
Is it?
I'm gonna say probably you. I was really slow starter at Aldershot, really slow starter at Grays.
I know. I think I scored 38. I think it was for Dagenham.
That's gonna be
that more.
That's gonna be more. I think that's
Okay, we'll say me then.
I think the season. Yeah. I think the season I left Grays, I think I had something like 13 in 12 or something, 13 in 17 or something.
Yeah, so Craig, you're going for yourself. You're both saying Craig for that one. Yeah, Craig scored 39 and you scored 37.
37, that's not bad.
That's
not bad. I feel like you only put that question in anyway because it wasn't me.
Don't look at me. Producer man
I'm
Josh.
just saying that I feel like that's why that question was in there, just to make Craig look good. It's okay.
Okay. Well, it's a good quiz. You enjoy the quiz?
Did I win? Because
we'll tot it all up, but yeah, I think you did. With your working out and something, you did. Right, there were plenty of goals in the National League on New Year's Day, and here's what happened at the top of the table between York City and Gateshead.
It's from the right again. It's a right tussle in the box. It hasn't fell down. It's gone into the net. And we scored from a corner again. This time Marvin Armstrong gets the final touch. Gateshead could not cope with the pressure.
He bowls it out to Zonu right. They have drawn some of the players in, and there's space for Yeovil to exploit. And ball goes to the far side to Sims in the penalty area. Plays the ball back to the 6-yard line. The shot goes in, and there's an own goal. And Yeovil score after 37 minutes. The ball was played in, a bit of miscommunication. Lobson slid in. Circle wants it back. McAllister plays it into the box. Quickly gets their first header onto it. Can Knowles bring down the loose ball? He can't. And there's another penalty for Forest Green. Knowles winning the header. Shaw gets a yellow. So let's look at the referee's pocket. He brings out the second yellow card for Shaw. So what a moment that is in the game. He takes down Knowles in the box, gives away a penalty, and gets sent off. Waits again. Referee makes sure some players are back behind. Goes to McAllister and scores on Forest Green. Calm as you like. Corner taken short to Robson, edge of the box. Plays it back into the 6-yard area. Carter with the header. Fantastic save. Score! Forest Green, they go ahead. Ryan Innes, the goal scorer, goes towards the corner. Gets up a huge pylon. Forest Green come from behind in injury time. Ryan Innes smashed it home.
Put together a string of passes in their own half, and they've worked their way forward into a promising position here, all the way across to Shane. Wanting to smash the ground in the opening quarter of an hour, but Eastleigh find themselves in front. And they find a way through. There's the header, and it's in for the equaliser. Barney back on level terms, and it's Callum Stead who gets the goal.
Plenty of goals in the National League on New Year's Day then. Lads, at the top of the table, it is very, very tight. Just how competitive is it this season?
No, it's looking really tight, as you said. Like we've kind of played a few of the teams that are up there, and they're all very, very similar. They're performing really, really well, and it's going to be exciting end to the season.
What's the difference this season to last season? Obviously, we had Wrexham and Notts County a few years ago. Just the level seems to have just gone up more and more as the seasons have gone by.
Yeah, I think when you look back at, like you say, seasons gone by, you've had some big hitters. You've had the teams that at the beginning of the season, you can almost predict who's gonna get promoted. You know, last season Chesterfield were the favourites. Prior to that, you had the battles between Notts County and Wrexham. You had the battles between Stockport and Wrexham. I think this year is the closest I've seen in a long, long time where there's 3, 4, 5 teams that all can really stake a claim to go on and win it. And I think at the moment there's 1 point separates the top 3 teams. Like I can't remember a time when that's been the case.
You played against York, Adam Hinshelwood's side. He come up from Worden and he was playing some beautiful football down there, and he's taken a few lads with him. How impressed were you with them?
Yeah, they were good. Say on the ball, playing some nice football. They've got good solid players. I think when you're up the top end and you get into a rhythm, you just ooze kind of that confidence, and that's what they were doing. And as I said, we played Barnet and played Forest Green. You can see they're in their zone. They're in that confidence streak. When you're going well, things kind of happen for you. So it's been really interesting to watch the top teams and obviously see how it was obviously playing out at the top at the moment.
And how much of a culture change is it for clubs like Forest Green, who have been in the Football League and now finding themselves in the National League?
For Forest Green, I don't think it's that much of a culture change because they were in the National League, you know, not too long ago. So I think they've experienced, you know, I wouldn't say the riches, but you know, the opportunity to go into the Football League and sample what that's all about. But now they're almost having to start from ground zero. Bringing an experience like Steve Cottrell in, experienced manager like Steve Cottrell, I think is key to them progressing and getting back, you know, getting that level of stability, which I think they've lacked for a few years, is going to be key if they want to get back to the Football League.
What about your old team, Barnet? How do you rate their chances?
Well, I think their chances are very good. You know, listen, Dean Brennan's a former teammate of mine, and when he first took over at Barnet, they were struggling to stay in the division. And season by season, they've gradually just improved year on year. And now they've got a real strong squad. And throughout the squad, you know, from front to back, they look really good. And it is just now about consistency. You know, we've both been in teams that have always been challenging, you know, at the top end of the table. And the whole thing's about consistency, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's making sure that you perform at the highest level. And when you do have those dips, you bounce back as quick as you can.
Yeah, I don't think there's any given games in the National League anymore. And I think obviously the top four, that when they go to the teams that are below them, they really have to stay switched on now. And so when we played them, we gave them a real good game, but they started to show their quality through the season. And they said, like, the next kind of last half of the season is about, as you say, consistency, going to the teams that are below you, putting the performances in, and then hopefully coming in the season you've done enough to get yourself out of the league.
But just obviously being in at Woking and seeing, you know, seeing the lads on a daily basis, how hard is it to kind of coach that and put that into the lads? Because obviously as a player you just take care of yourself. For you and your role now, how hard is it for you to be able to help those lads in staying consistent and so that they understand what that means?
Yeah, it is. It's kind of like just being around, talking to them, getting them to understanding of like the higher you go up the levels, the consistency becomes key, and it's just being on them all the time, like giving them confidence, giving them constructive feedback, making sure that they know what the standards are when they've performed well. Really highlighting that and saying this is where the standard you've got to. Now this is what you've got to keep and keep performing that way. So say it's for me, my job obviously is doing all the head of performance, but I feel that the knowledge I have in the game is giving everything back I can so that they can keep progressing, so they can perform the same week in, week out, and hopefully as a team we can gradually improve up the league, and as individuals they can improve to obviously maybe progress further on in their career.
I presume there's more technology now, more analysis.
Yeah.
How different was it from when you guys were playing? Did you have these sort of luxuries in the National League?
No. Like, and I think, say you could get away with it more than like back then, because there wasn't like distances, GPS. There wasn't really as much analysis. It was like VHS. So
someone wheels the telly on wheels.
Listen, a lot of people watching this won't even know what VHS is. So.
Sadly, I know what it is. Now I feel even older.
But yeah, there wasn't that technology, and obviously over the years, so many more new things have come in, which has really helped the game. So the GPS, you can monitor people's loads, you can see how far they've run, their sprints, their high distances. Gym programs have really come on. There's more data and what works, what doesn't work. So as a player now, like as we were kind of coming into the game, you're going out searching and trying to find that 1% that can make you better. Now that 1% is so available to you, social media, you've got all these wonderful coaches, individual coaches who highlight their stuff on there. You can learn from that. So there's so much stuff, I believe now as a young player wanting to make it in the game, that you can utilise. And obviously at Woking we have all the GPS, the data stuff. We're working on all different aspects to increase the availability of the players, the quality that they bring to the team, and obviously to help the individual progress and achieve what they're looking to achieve in the game.
Craig, what are the New Year resolutions for Woking and yourself as we head into 2025?
I think for me it's putting myself out there more. I've come out of football and kind of got a little bit lost. It's like it was my life, 24 years of being someone like moulded into something, and now then I come out of that, I was like, oh, actually, who am I? So now I've kind of started to find my feet. I'm working with strikers. I'm starting a men's mental health podcast, and with a good friend of mine, and which I feel really needs highlighting. And obviously working with Woking. So I feel like I want to keep progressing and putting myself out there, getting people to see what I'm doing, and kind of stand in my power, back myself, that I know what I'm doing and I'm bringing to people. I think with Woking, I think we've just got to keep progressing the way we are. We've obviously, it was a little unsteady at points. I feel like the last 3 games we've picked up 7 points. I think the boys are starting to. We started to get luck, which is what you need in football. Obviously, under Michael Doyle, we just weren't getting any luck. We were having chances, we weren't converting them, and then the other opposition would score with 1 chance. And how football changes, we're now converting our chances, and the opposition are missing their opportunities. So it's just football's just a funny game, but we seem to have a bit more confidence now in ourselves. So hopefully, it's kind of building on that and kind of seeing how we can finish out the season.
Brilliant stuff. Right, still to come on the show, we look back on the incredible career of our guest, Craig McAllister.
And we're going to have some questions that you guys have asked for this guy. See you soon.
A golden year just gets better and better.
Fired up. Just sensational. Pure timing.
Just unbelievable.
Great tennis everywhere. Just relentless. Phenomenal performance from Coco Gauff.
"47 years of promoting boxing. What a ride it's been." I was 23 years old at the time. I got an invite from the Boxing Board of Control to take a licence out. Back then, it was all run by the cartel.
We have a new promoter in British Championship Boxing, Frank Warren.
People liked it, I think, the fact that someone was taking the cartel on. I've never been afraid about shaking things up and working with new media.
This is a bit of a dream come true.
Pay-per-view, satellite TV.
Very proud of Amir. What he done was fantastic.
Bringing shows in from America Live. I've been lucky enough to promote some of the biggest names in boxing.
I'd like to thank Mr. Frank Warren for having me over here.
Just when you think it can't get any bigger, my mobile rang. We get this call from His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh. Off we went to the races. I'm as competitive as my fighters, and I fight for my fighters. I'm always looking for the next challenge, and I know there's one there now.
Queensbury arrives at the home of boxing, DAZN, multi-year deal, let's go.
This is a company that is devoted to boxing. They have a worldwide platform. And for us, that is very, very important to do what Queensbury is doing, to be expanding and building, working together for the betterment of boxing, as I believe it will be.
Hello and welcome back from the break. Now, as you can see behind us, we've got some old school football shirts. Not so much this one, but this one here and a few of these. And these have been given to us from Classic Football Shirts. They're doing some amazing work in the National League community to bring all fans together.
Yeah, brilliant kits. We'll go through them in a minute. And also a big shout out to Sam Corrie, who was our Oldham fan at the game that got postponed against York. She makes these brilliant bobble hats, so do go check them out. So massive shout out to you, Sam. Lads, before we move on, these shirts, now, they're massive. They're huge. They're not like the streamlined ones we've got these days. Did it have any effect on your performance when you're putting on these bed sheets?
Well, when it used to rain, that's what I can say is when it used to rain, and those kits used to hold the water a lot, didn't they?
They were heavy.
Yeah. You know, there would be some games that you'd go in and at half time, you can literally just wring the shirt out and you're carrying about 10 pints of water.
It's also like running into the wind. If you run into the wind, the thing just goes, and then it just catches a wind, and it was like, defenders could be grabbing you. Like, I think they'd say the first shirt we had was like XL, so it was like an XL T-shirt came to here, my shorts were down here, and it was like, I think it was tough. It was tough.
Yeah. I'm glad that the kids.
I was gonna say, did it make a massive difference when you got your first one and you're like, oh, here we go?
Yeah, it's like a weighted kit. We were, like, we were doing extra reps with the
We had
kit.
strong legs. That's for sure. Carrying that around is, yeah.
Right, Craig, 512 appearances, 146 goals, 7 caps, and a goal for Scotland. Started in non-league. But before we get into it all, do you miss playing?
Yeah, I do. When I'm with the lads and obviously doing the stuff, it's like, oh, I want to get back involved, and I do miss it because like you spent your whole life working for something, towards something, and then you come out of it, and then if you're back in and around it, it's like, have my legs still got it? I can see that move and I can see that. So, but I think like I would love to, but I think for me now it's the progression of giving back what I've learned. If going back into playing, I wouldn't learn too much more in a sense. And so now I've got so much information. It's giving back. It's giving back to all these like players that I work with in whatever level they're working at to carry on and achieving their dreams. That obviously they all have the pinnacle of where they want to reach, and I want to be able to give the information I've got to maybe give them 1-2% extra that'll give them that increase to take them to the next level. So as much as I enjoy it, and we play in charity games together, which is great, and it kind of you get the boots back on and you have that great feel again. It's nice kind of having that opportunity now to watch and say give back for a career that's been so fantastic to me.
Yeah, you started your career in non-league with St Albans City, a team I know quite well. What are your first memories from all those years ago?
Oh, so I think it was like 15 or 16, and I was like the man. I think it was John Kendall, the manager, who kind of just pulled me into the first team. I don't think they were doing well at the time, and he was just like, "I want you to come and play." And obviously going from like kids football into adult football, it was just like it's fair. Your fair game basically. And I was getting, and I was like, I was just through my career like a young lad, just running everywhere and being really busy and obviously. Older players just didn't like that, so I was getting kicked and elbowed.
Well, it never changed, though, did it?
No.
Literally that busy, annoying kid.
Yeah.
Even to this day. So.
Was it quite daunting then going into your first senior changing room, especially in non-league?
Yeah, I think it was. It was like, again, obviously it's a little bit different now with the age and coming into male to the adult dressing rooms. But then it was like 15, just fly in, and like there was no hold barred. I was just one of the team, and it was daunting to go in there and kind of just see everything that was going on and how a dressing room was, and obviously how the older lads were. But they were brilliant with me. Like I say, I was 15. They all got around me. They all looked after me. They would make sure I was okay, especially even on the pitch. If I was getting kicked about a bit, they'd all come and kind of protect me. So it was an amazing experience. I learned so much from it, which I think really helped me throughout my whole career, like the understanding.
You've been at school then?
Yeah. I was at school, and then I think I'd go from school and I'd get the bus to my granddad, and then my granddad would then take me to the game, and then I'd get kicked to pieces, and then I'd go back, go back to school the next day. But I loved it because that was like I was wanting to be a professional footballer, and at 15 to be playing like men's football at non-league, it was amazing. It was like I was on my journey. I loved every minute. I tried to absorb it all in. There was obviously highs when it was going well and lows, but it was always a lot of learning to try and take me to where I wanted to be.
Yeah, you joined Arsley Town and scored in the FA Trophy against Dagenham and Redbridge, and then they signed you not long after. You talk about it there, your journey to becoming a professional footballer. Is that when you think it started to gain momentum for you?
Not at first, because obviously breaking into like St Albans' first team at 15, you're like thinking, "Oh, I'm on the run now. Here we go." Like, and so I think St Albans were like rhyming Div 1, so it wasn't that far for the conference. And I was thinking, "This is my start. Like, I'm going to get in the team," because in youth football I was banging goals in for fun, and then I got into the first team at St Albans and done okay, and then didn't really score that many. And then I'm getting older, and new managers are coming in, and I wasn't playing as much, so it was like, "Oh, this is not kind of where I'm getting where I wanted to go." And then I got released. When I got released, I was like, "Oh, flipping now, like I was meant to be going this way, and now I'm going this way." So when I first joined Arsley, I was like a bit peeved. I wasn't where I wanted to be, and I'd been now gone down a level rather than going up a level. So it took me a little bit of time to kind of overcome that. And then once I finally kind of put that to the back of my mind and just started to play football and just kind of started to enjoy it, and that's when everything kind of started to click. And then obviously went and played Dagenham away in a trophy, and we drew 3-3, and I set all 3 goals up, which was an amazing experience. Playing in front of, I think it was 1,000 people at that time. Like was nerve-wracking. And Dagenham obviously were the FA Cup giants at that time. They were beating big teams, so I knew about them. And then obviously to go to the home game, you won 4-2. I think I scored a couple of goals, and then at the end of the season for John Steele to kind of say like, we want you to come, we want you to be part of this team. It was like I was like, this is good. I'm now progressing, and at the time I was going to go to Peterborough University. I'd done all my education, so I was part-time Dagenham, going to university, and then I spoke to my dad and said, look, should we see if we can go full-time? Because some of them were full-time at then. I said, yeah, why not? So I spoke to John, and he was like, yeah, no, come full-time. And that was the first time I stepped into full-time kind of men's football. It was just like something I'd worked so hard for to kind of then get to that point where I was full-time, and I could go and say to my friends, yeah, I'm a full-time footballer now, and obviously one step off the league. It was just an amazing feeling, and it was like all the hard work, like I was working in home base, I was going to college, and I was playing football for Arsley Town. It was like doing all 3 of those. It was just kind of like the culmination of all that hard work. I got to the kind of another rung of the ladder, and then it was now, okay, learn everything I can need to learn and see if I can keep pushing myself beyond that.
Craig, before you moved to Peterborough, Barry Fry tells an amazing story of how he tried to sign you, but he couldn't afford you. When that's happening, do you hear of the interest? Were you aware of all these things going on?
Not really. Barry turned up to a few games, so I knew.
You knew he was there.
I knew I was around, and he turned up to a Dagenham Grays game, so he pulled me afterwards, and he was like, no, "We don't like this area, and we want to." No, he was there, and he would just say hello, and so I knew about that, but not anything else. I just literally was just focused on playing football, and yeah, we obviously it took a little bit of time for me to get to Peterborough. And there was never anything malicious. It was just a case of like Dagenham were doing so well. I think at Christmas we were top of the league, and we built such a great bond. It was again lots of players out of non-league, like lower league, Sam Saunders, Paul Benson, Chris Moore. So we had a great bond, and I wanted to stay there and kind of see the job through. But in that time, I'd also kind of signed a contract with Peterborough saying I'd come and join them. So I kind of trying to say, like, I want to stay, finish this job, and then I'll come. And obviously that wasn't the way. So there was a bit of miscommunication, and it took me a little bit of time to get to Peterborough.
Yeah, that wasn't the way it was relayed to us. How it was relayed to us is...
Go on.
So we all sign in January in the transfer window. Now, Craig doesn't turn up. So I'm there, George Boyd's there, a few others we've all come from non-league. Now we're waiting for Craig to arrive. Craig doesn't arrive. So apparently, Craig's not coming. He's decided that he's not going to come. So before he's walked through the door, I'm thinking, who is this big time Charlie? Like, how are you going to say that you're not going to come? We're all here waiting for you. Anyway, when he finally does arrive, luckily for him, he's very good and hits the ground running. But yeah, let's just say we wasn't too happy with his antics before he arrived.
Okay. What were your first impressions of Aaron and Boydie?
Yeah, no, I say we played against each other, and so we knew each other. Like, I always thought he was a bit flash when we used to play. We used to play against each other. He was as he is now. He talks a lot and he bigs himself up. But like, he's a guy you love, and obviously we got there, and I met him, and I met Boydie, and it's just like we got on so well. Like we're 3 lads trying to make it in the game. We'd been in non-league. We'd been grafting our off to get to that next step, and we had that opportunity, and we had it all together. So it was like we wanted to see each other do well because we knew how hard we had to graft to get there.
I think Peterborough were the first team to really do it, to really say, do you know what? There's really good players playing in the National League. They were the first team to really put their money where their mouth is and say, we're going to go and we're not just going to take the best player, we're going to go and take 2, 3, 4 and continuously do it. And now that model has been replicated all throughout football. But, you know, fair play to Darren McAnthony and to Barry Fry, because that was the catalyst for players just being picked up from non-league from non-league teams. You know, not saying that it never happened before, because obviously it had, but not at that magnitude. You know, and going and paying, I think they paid 150 grand for Craig, 150 grand for me, 260 grand for George Boyd. They went and really said, you know what, that if we go down this route, these players are good enough to be able to come in, and not just come in and do well, but they're capable of going on and achieving big things. And
you two have a great partnership on the pitch. What was it like off it? I spent 8 hours in a car with him on the way up to Oldham. It was great. It was lovely. He did tell me about sharing a room together, and he had a few bad habits. Could you just elaborate on what they might be?
He's snoring.
Yeah. Bingo, that's the one.
Yeah, he's snoring. He likes to talk to himself in his sleep as well, so he doesn't stop. But you know, I think off the pitch we had such a great relationship. Like we spent so much time together. We had, I think it was just such a love for each other, such a love for wanting each other to do well. And I think, say off the pitch, even us two, but all the boys, like we spend so much time with each other. Like we'd go out to the cinema together. And I think that's what builds a team. But for us two, it was just like we'd room together. Like I'd want him to do well, he'd want me to do well. I've got the most amount of patience in the world, so that's how I could deal with him on a daily basis.
Well, he is unique because he's the only one on this sofa that's got an international appearance. Not much pressure on me there, but maybe your good self, Aaron. Just tell us what that was like, making your debut for Scotland.
Oh, it was amazing. Obviously, when I joined Peterborough, I said to Barry, like, my nan's Scottish, that I can qualify, because I always felt like I enjoyed that side of it, that side of my family. I always wanted to look at that when I got into professional football. And I think Craig Burley was the manager at one point, and Baz said that they're not really interested at that moment in time. And then I think Craig Levine came in, and I was doing really, really well. And he kind of called me up and was like, "We want you to come into the Scotland squad." And I was like, "Who's the game against?" And he was like, "Oh, it's Brazil." And I was like, "Well,
I'm unavailable now."
I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "It's Brazil at the Emirates." Like, he said, and I was like, "Wow!" Like, "Yeah, no, I'll be in there." And it was like, I think we might have either played MK Dons away, or it was like Bristol Rovers away. And then the next day, I had to go down and meet all the lads in Canary Wharf, and like, most nervous I've ever been. I was like walking into the food hall, trying not to be sick. It was like I was so nervous. Like, you'd seen like Darren Fletcher and all these like players that you'd see playing on the international like stage and in the Premier League and stuff. And I was like, I'm in the same room. I'm playing League One football at the moment, but I'm in the same room as these guys. I think I roomed with James Morrison, and they were all great with me. They were fantastic. Like, obviously, I'm not Scottish. I qualified from a nan, so sometimes that could be a little bit kind of an Englishman coming into a Scottish dressing room. But they were fantastic. So obviously, we trained the night before at the Emirates. To walk out onto that pitch, even when it was empty, was an amazing stadium. Just being involved in the session, like watching these top class players, like zinging the balls about and just getting involved. It was an amazing occasion. And then obviously the game day, my nan, who I qualified for, was there. All my family were there. Amber, my partner I'm with, her mum's Scottish as well. So it was just like, it was an amazing occasion to be there. And again, I was so nervous. I had my eyes closed on the coach going towards the ground, and I was sitting there thinking, "No, I've got to open my eyes. I've got to see this." And I opened like the curtain, and like, the Tartan Army were everywhere in the Brazil shirts. It was just like phenomenal. Still really, really nervous. Still kind of like that expectation of playing in front of that many people on that stage was daunting. But just see that, and obviously go in a dressing room, see your shirt with your name on the back and the Scotland badge, and then the national anthem. It was just like the whole thing was just amazing. And I got on for 10 minutes to obviously, I think Dani Alves was playing, Thiago Silva, Lucio, I think Ramirez was playing, Neymar was playing. It was like, obviously sitting there like watching these players on the bench, and I'm like normally it's in a TV screen and I'm watching them, but I'm actually watching them live, and then I could actually be on the pitch with these guys. So it was just like an amazing experience to go from 4 years ago. It was like playing at Dagenham to then having that opportunity to play against Brazil as your first cap. It was just, it was staggering. It was like, right, I want to keep working. I want more of this. I think I really like this.
Neymar scored 2 goals in that game, but what shirt did you get?
I got Lucio's shirt.
Have you still got it?
I've got it framed, my Scotland shirt and my Lucio shirt in a big frame together up on my wall. So yeah, I couldn't have timed it better really, like to get on for 10 minutes. Then the full time whistle went, and I'm standing next to this man melting, and there's literally like I just turned to him and said, like, "Can I have your shirt?" And he was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "What?" Like I was just holding this yellow thing in my hand, like you see him on the TV, and then I've got it in my hand, and obviously Lucio, one of the best centre backs that Will's ever produced, and he's like, "I've got his shirt." It was my first shirt in my hand, and it was massive, and I was like. He's like, it's just, and I was like, I wonder what he's going to do with my shirt.
So he took yours as well.
Yeah.
Did you have that awkward moment where you went, "Can I have yours?" And did he go, "Can I have yours?"
Yeah. I think he just took it, and then he was polite enough to take it.
That's nice.
But obviously we also had you get a couple of shirts.
You've got one of your own.
Yeah, so I had one of my own, and then I had that shirt, and then obviously you get like a pendant and a cap and stuff like that. So it's like I've got all this amazing memorabilia from that time, and it's on my wall. So I look at it all the time and think, what like. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it was me, and then I look at it and I'm like, wow. And then obviously my kids get to see it, and they get to know who I've played for and against, and it's nice. It's nice to have.
There's one thing making your debut for Scotland, but what's it like scoring in a Euro qualifier?
Yeah, it was just to be involved was just an amazing, just to be there and be around it, and obviously as a forward I want to be scoring, but I'm just being appreciative. Like Kenny Miller's there, like what an amazing player. Like to learn from him, Darren Fletcher, like Man United legend, learning from him, like Alan McGregor, goalie, like learning from these people that are doing it at the top level, like what it takes. It was just great to be around, and obviously that day, Liechtenstein away, I think Kenny Miller was meant to play, and we had the training the day before, and he was really struggling in the session, and then the manager pulled me and said, "Look, you're going to start against Liechtenstein," and I was like, "Really?" And he's like, "Yeah, you're going to start."
Sure.
And I was like, "Oh no, like I'm ready. Like I'm ready to start." And obviously the game was going on, and obviously like, you go out, you sing the national anthem, and it was just an amazing experience. And then the game kicks off, and you just get in the zone, and I was playing really, really well. And then the ball came in. I think it was crossed in, and the keeper was coming out, and I just got in between just me and the keeper and flicked it on, and it went in the back of the net. So we had to win that game to go to Spain to still give us a chance of qualifying. So it was just amazing to have started the game, and then obviously to score, get the winning goal, to give us that opportunity to go to Spain it was an amazing feeling. So I was made up, and obviously all the boys come around and celebrate with you, and you feel like, oh, this is I feel part.
Oh, you belong.
Yeah, I feel part of it. So it was amazing.
Yeah, it's an absolutely incredible career, one that many would love to have. Right, DAZN is the home of the National League, but it's also the home of plenty more in 2025. We have the FIFA Club World Cup from June, a new format, 32 teams. We will be there for what promises to be a carnival atmosphere in USA. You can see all the matches here live on DAZN. The road to Lisbon starts now as the UEFA Women's Champions League quarter-final draw takes place on February 7th. A huge draw with some big teams left in it. The final will be on May 24th at Sporting Lisbon's stadium. And you can catch Cristiano Ronaldo, Roberto Firmino and Riyad Mahrez in the Saudi Pro League throughout the season. 3 live matches every round live on DAZN.
And we have more National League live football coming your way in January. On Wednesday the 15th of January, it's Boston United versus Southend United. We bring you the live build-up from 7:30 p.m. And on Saturday the 18th of January, we head to Maidenhead as they host AFC Fylde in a huge clash at the bottom of the table. Coverage begins at 5:15. Catch us on DAZN for that one.
Okay, we asked you, the football fans, to send in your questions. Thank you for those that have. Erin, you've got a few.
Yeah, I've got a few here. There's a few silly ones.
The ones that pepper you a little bit, isn't it?
Let's start
with the best ones.
Let's start with a few more serious ones. So, could you see Brighton going this far?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's when I signed for Brighton, I knew the vision that they had. I knew that meeting the chairman, meeting Gus, meeting everyone around the club, they had that vision. They had, like the chairman had just built a £90 million stadium. He was talking about the when I left the last season I was there, they just built a £30 million new training ground. Obviously, they've extended on that. So I knew where the club was going. I knew like he's probably the best owner I've ever come across. His mindset, everything he does is geared towards Brighton, making sure that it's sustainable. Like his recruitment, everything is amazing, and it's shown where the club's got to. There's still more to come. I think that obviously them getting into Europe was amazing, but also I think it had a little bit of a detrimental effect because then there's more games, and then you have to build a bigger squad. So I think he's learning from that. But the club will come again, and I think they'll become one of the clubs that become stronger and stronger within the Premier League.
Awesome, mate. All right, what is your go-to pre-match meal?
Go-to. So I used to love either salmon or chicken and loads of pasta because normally I had to do all your running, so I needed I needed loads of energy. And
dry. He's done it so dry.
It was, but I couldn't have sauces because it made me feel sick during the game. So it was literally dry chicken or salmon, dry pasta, and vegetables.
Well, I've got one here, and it goes on what's been said already. Adam Virgo says, how many more goals would Craig have scored if he didn't do all of your running?
I'd have saved myself so much. At least a 2 or 3K worth of running.
The GPS would have been broken.
Can I just put the record straight? Because this is a myth that Craig did my running. That never happened. I would say is we both just enjoyed running, didn't we? We both enjoyed just running defenders into the ground. You know, we knew that. I think the best thing was I knew that I'd work my socks off and I've got someone next to me who's going to do exactly the same. And at no point in the game is he going to cheat, and I'll go and close someone and he won't come with me, you know, and vice versa. And I think, again, that was just one of our strengths as well as being able to score goals. Nobody wanted to play against us just because they didn't want to run. You know, they didn't want to. Defenders are lazy, you know. Defenders don't want to.
No, that was the fun
be
bit,
chasing us. What would your top 5-a-side team be from players that you've played with? I know the first name.
Is that including me or not including me?
Not including you. So you've got to pick 5 players.
Oh my gosh.
You're the manager. You're retired now.
Yeah.
But you can bring back 5 players in their peak.
So I'd go David Stockdale in goal. Great guy, like unbelievable keeper. Great. His kicking out was ridiculous. He could find anyone on a pitch. A couple of times I used to stand really, really high, and he used to just zing it off a goal kick and put me in. It was amazing. It was great to have someone like that behind you. So I'd have him in goal. I'd probably play really attacking. So I'd off. Wow, that is really tough. Say Matty Upson, just like at Brighton, he's quite like his reading of the game, his passing of the ball was amazing. So I'd probably say him. Eberici Eze, at Wickham, he was something else. Yeah. He'd come in, we'd play 11-a-side, he'd pick it up, beat 8 people and score, and it'd be like, it was just like he was phenomenal, and you could just tell he was going to be something special. And I still think he's got more levels to go. And what a wonderful lad, like proper grounded, great kid, wanted to learn, listened to everyone. No, I'm absolutely buzzing. And I knew he'd get to where he is, and I know he's going to go beyond where he is now. I'd play Akinfenwa up top.
Beast mode activated. Yeah, it makes sense, to be fair. Yeah.
And then I'd maybe play this guy off of him. Maybe.
You got in there in the end.
Yeah, I'd play this guy. It's so hard.
I feel like I've bullied my way into it.
Yeah, I think. But I play with so many great players. It's like to put the 5-a-side team in, but it's like that's the joy of playing in a long career, playing with great players. You meet great people. You see people like say for Eberici Eze, from where he kind of was coming in on loan to where he is now, and that's the great thing. As you come through your career, you get to see these people go on and do so well.
The final question is from myself, and it's for both of you. What one bit of advice would you give to a modern day non-league striker?
Yeah.
Right.
I've done this before.
I think it's mentality. It's like your mentality of just keep getting in them positions, like not worrying if you miss, just keep going, keep trying to get those chances. I think keep learning, like trying to look at your game, analyse your game. I think, but mentality for me is the key throughout your whole career. Is how you deal with setbacks, how you deal with problems that are presented to you. Like your mentality is designed for all of that, and if you can bulletproof it and make it the strongest you can possibly can, I think you can go as far as you decide you want to go.
Yeah, and I think mine just desire. You know, I think the only reason I made it as a footballer is because my desire to want to work hard, to want to improve, to want to get on the end of crosses, to want to go and block defenders clearing the ball. You know, my level of desire was such that everything I wanted to do, I was going to make sure that I put the maximum into it. And I can only look at myself and say, okay, that's what I want other people to do. You know, I'm not saying that I was the greatest footballer in the world, far from it. I'm not saying every decision that I made was the right decision, of course not. But I was able to get to where I got to purely, you know, from the desire that I had. And I know Craig's exactly the same. And I know so many people in exactly the same position. So you know, without it being a specific thing, shooting or heading or whatever, desire is the key. If you've got that, then you've got a chance.
Well, one decision you did get correct, mate, is getting your old teammate on the sofa for the first Vodcast. Brilliant chatting to you, Craig. Yeovil away next?
Yeah, it is, yep.
Good luck with that and the rest of the season. You can catch all the exclusive National League content on DAZN, and me and Aaron will be back with the next Vodcast very soon.
See you soon.
Has a goal and scores majestically. Oh my words! Fabulous! Oh, what a strike that is! Simply spectacular.
Oh, it's an absolute beauty, isn't it?
The best goal of the night.
It all starts here.